Yesterday, another fun day. In the morning, we took out the prior week's low by about $2, actually, all the way back down to sub 260, at least for a little bit. But there was a really clean, solid bounce that took us all the way back up to the pre-market high. It was very tradable. So I'll keep on repeating this, but these large down moves are just leading to snapbacks over and over again. On the short side, it's just there's really good trades into prior resistance areas like this one, but they just develop more slowly. So they get up there, they kind of move sideways, and then they come off a little, and then they accelerate. But they're working in both directions constantly. So I'm just looking at this bigger picture now. This holds higher today and moves up. I mean, this would be right back up to 265-ish. And that would give you another lower high and another something like that. I haven't mentioned this in a while, but from a bigger picture perspective, if we're ever going to ever take out the support area from the last couple of months, I would look for some closes down below 260 for a few days. If we had a few closes down here and then started to move lower, then I'd start to think about a bigger retracement. But right now, I mean, it's starting to look like just a consolidation that can move sideways for a while. We're working off this. This is kind of the intermediate term trend. So that's kind of where we are. We did flush below 262 a few minutes ago. If we remember, like the trigger, the low was in the morning, had the first move above 260, failed, made the higher low. Higher lows are kind of the trickiest ways to catch a bounce in the sense that you get this here in the failure. It's easier if you get closer to the low and you can watch it hold right at the low because you know your risk is very small down here. When you get the higher low, really what you're trading off of is, oh, I see the higher low. Do I get momentum back above the resistance area, which is 260 and 260.20? Once you see that here, then you start to think bigger bounce, and the key resistance, the 260, then you look for support. And so you did get the retest, and then it's just, at this point, it's completely on. Everybody's like, once this bar happens and this bar happens, everyone's thinking the bounce is on, we can get back up to this area here, which we did. That was the top right here. And then in the after hours, it kind of creeps back up above 263. So looking at it based on yesterday's price action, one of the first spots you'd look for to see if the market holds, or the first spot would really be the first pullback below 262 was around 261.85. We flushed through that and got back above. And so this is kind of this is how I'm starting my day thinking about the market. It's here to here. IWM. Okay, so this one, this is relative strength, right? I mean, the SPYs had taken out the low from the prior couple of days. This one actually got to this little spot it bounced from around 152.25. And then once it gets above this here, then you look to see if it'll support. So in this case, it gets above 153. First time fails 153.50, pulls back where it was having trouble. So similar to the SPY pattern intraday, and then makes the new high. And then you can use the 153.5, which is the longer term level we highlighted, as kind of where the buyer is still in control. And same thing in the pre-market. It just, can it hold above 153.5? If it can, and IWM is strong, it brings 154.80 to 155 back into play. All right, not as good. This is kind of a weak day for in-play stocks compared to the last 7-8 days. But we have a couple things. The first one I put on was FLR. which just gave ridiculously bad guidance. Here's the daily. So it had a huge uptrend from the fall. And the question is now it's okay, so it's below that. So since the huge uptrend, it consolidated for a while, tested the high. So now this consolidation area is breaking. It's down here. Let's see what it was from low to high. So it was 37 to 62. So it's 25, 12 and a half. That brings us down to like here. I'm just doing a 50% retracement of high to low. The guidance was so bad, and it's had such a big move, and there's so many people trapped here. I would think people will be motivated. Any type of pop, even into 50, I'd be looking to short it. I mean, a gift would probably be some sort of bounce up to here. But I would have put on the sheet. Yeah, 50, 52. So these are the two levels for I put on the sheet for resistance. But it just seems like even the big analysis you have to make, and when something is down this much, is are this people who are long the stock motivated to get the hell out? And anytime you're down this much, you think, oh, maybe they won't be motivated. But if you look at the size, I mean, look at all the people who are in. And this is only 6 months ago, 7 months ago. People are in from $40, $45. They can start to get these people here getting long all along here. They can start to get nervous. People here might be like, I'll wait for a bounce. If it starts to bounce here, and these people start to get motivated to sell, and the other people who are long from down here are like, maybe this is the best time to get out. This is guidance is horrendous. You can get that move all the way down here. So unfortunately, we don't have a ton of volume in the pre-market, so I can't draw a lot of conclusions. That's kind of my thought process coming in. What do I have for first support? 48 to 48, 50. Okay, so it touched 48 already in the pre-market. So it's okay if they buy it here and it doesn't break down and you want to play it for a pop back up to here, this is fine. And then kind of see how it behaves once it gets up into 49 and a half, 50. But just be mindful of the fact that it's pretty awful. Shake Shack. So Shake Shack has a really heavy short interest. I have no idea why. It's a really good company. Maybe it just trades at high multiple. I've just seen this for like the last 20 years where these hedge funds keep on shorting these good companies and they get their faces ripped off until there's a negative catalyst. The best example of that is CMG, Chipotle. People were shorting it at 200, 300, 400. Finally, it had a negative catalyst when it was at 650, and it got cut in half. Like, wait till it actually has a negative catalyst. So this is as high as it's been since it did the IPO back here. These prices really were a function of they did the IPO and there were very few shares trading. Once more shares came into circulation, started to have trouble holding above 50. And then we had a nice range. Obviously, buying it anywhere in the low 30s longer term is great. We're in the driver's seat now, about $50. The question is, are these shorts going to are they going to panic buy it all the way up into here? And then it worked its way back down to 50. I mean, that would be cool. Like just panic buying in the open 53, 54, and then the last short covers and it just drifts down $2 to $4 the rest of the day. So that's one possible pattern. Another is it just comes into this area here, it gets bought, and goes back up to pre-market high, maybe a little bit higher. Another pattern is sellers coming right on the open, goes to 50, comes back here, fails at 51 where it failed in the after hours, and then you get a move back down below 50. And 50 is a big psychological level. It'll be interesting to see if it can close above there. The next one is ANET. Oh, and also the other thing is Shake is a little bit thin, so you have to trade it with less size and be careful. After the open, though, if it gets tight and you really see it in a nice tight range and it's being accumulated, that's fine. But right on the open, it could be really wild. The next one I debated whether or not to even put it on the sheet, ANET, because this one I mean, this thing moves dollars at a time. I suppose if I didn't put it on the sheet, somebody would have asked anyway, and I would have talked about it. So you can just see, like, I mean, look at the moves. It just moves $20 at a time. I think every once in a while I trade it, and if I catch it right, you know, I'll catch like a quick $10, $15. I can't remember the last time I traded it, actually, but you can just see how wild it is. So in this case, it's a momentum stock. So the general rule for the newer traders who haven't been with Swell, momentum stocks like this that have just gone up a ton. And you can see this, seeing this pattern a lot. Things have ran up a lot for a couple of years, and then they're in these big consolidations. It's fine. They can have these big consolidations. Netflix did this for a couple of years and then broke out and went up a few 100%. The problem is they depend on the business continuing to grow, and the numbers are really solid, but they gave inline guidance, and so it's gapping down below the bottom of this consolidation range, which is not good. And so sometimes you'll see these gap below the bottom of the range, but once they get back inside the range, they rip right back up. But the longer time it spends below the bottom of this range and there's a seller, it could get really ugly again. And you could see something like down to, what I put on the sheet, 236. That's like here. But if it gets a close down in this area here, 236 or lower, it could probably go down another $5 or $10 in the next few days, and then maybe you see a bounce from there. I might put some more notes in the chat as I see some more analyst comments on this, but it can be really wild. As dangerous as Shake is, you can see it gaps down to 260, boom, it's 245. So this thing moves $5 to $10 at a time. Somebody's asking about an FDA approval in PTLA. Let's look at the daily on this one just to see last time. See what it does after large gaps historically. Okay, so this one, yeah, this one's crazy. I think this is the one that I was trying to short up here, and then the next day it even went higher, and then it went higher. And then eventually the entire move got erased recently. So I guess my first thought on this one is there's a lot of people in from here who are going to be happy to sell it into this area. There's a lot of people motivated who are long from here that didn't get out yet. It's back up here in the mid-40s. They're going to want to sell it here. So you can already see that kind of playing out, right? It got up here. People sold it. It's actually a good sign for it, the fact that it came down here and is right back up. So maybe we'll have enough demand to rip through here and have another leg higher into 48 to 50. Let's see what the volume is. But it's definitely a dangerous short up coming into 46 because of the higher time frame that I highlighted for you. But again, the natural thing after being sold here would be to come down to this range. It did that. It got up. Now they're trying to hold it higher. So the more time it can spend, up in here, the better chance it has to have a real breakout above. So good call. Definitely worth looking at. I would say better than right up there with FLR. Definitely better than Shake and ANET in terms of liquidity. And then Square. So Square yesterday. So this is a really good illustration. If we look at the 30-minute chart on it, so it had sold off recently about a week ago from $50 down to the mid-40s. It caught a bit at 46, like 4 of the 5 days in front of the earnings. And the earnings come out. It looks like it might actually roll over, but the first move is up. And the market, as the market basically is crashing through the lows, it doesn't go anywhere close to the morning low or the pre-market support. And so that's, I bought it here at 47, and that's part of the reason. On days where the market's really strong or really weak, you want to find things that are showing relative weakness or relative strength, because if it rolls, and if the market rolls, the thing that's showing relative strength or relative weakness should roll, should go more than the market in the other direction. So in this case, by the way, I did try to short it here at 48 right in the open, and they were buying, eventually it showed strength, and I got long it. It popped up. Now, when the market sold off, it sold off at the market. And even when the market made a new, when the market was kind of testing the low, the 140, excuse me, the 259.5, it came down, but it never came down to test its opening drive low. And then once it broke out of this little mini down and had, the market was moving higher, it was a long. It eventually took out the morning high. So coming into today, this would be the most obvious spot to look to buy it here for a move against yesterday's high. The next one is CERN. CERN was 52 was the buy spot. You couldn't. I tried to get it there in the open. You couldn't get it. So it's always good to have a really good level to buy at. But if you can't get the stock, it doesn't help you. It went up a few dollars. I didn't really watch it that closely after. After the initial pullback here, and they were buying at 53.40. It wouldn't have been the worst idea to buy here. But you can see it rolled over through that. Although it never went below 53, so maybe it wouldn't have been stopped out. The really good buy, based on and how I trade intraday, is when a stock is strong. A lot of you would have learned this in the lecture on second day. Sorry, not second day play. It's strong stocks that become good second day plays. But anyway, this was strong on the open, pulled back, then it consolidated really tight at the morning high. But this range here, any type of tight consolidation in the top 25% of the day's range on a strong stock, this is a spot for you to watch to buy. And this is, the tighter the consolidation, the better. If you bought on the breakout of the tight consolidation here, you were rewarded with about $1.20, $1.10 up move, something like that. So that's pretty solid. And the thesis yesterday from the morning game plan notes was this a one-time event? And anytime something's a one-time event, if something gaps up in a one-time event, a lot of times it'll fade the rest of the day and get sold off. If something gaps down on what's viewed as a one-time event for the market, and it's not going to be a recurring situation or problem, it'll get bought. And so that was the question mark in the game plan notes, one-time event. Yeah, the market thought it was a one-time event. So in this situation, very strong. Can it continue and gap fill over the next couple of days back up to 57 and a quarter? Where would I look to buy this one based on yesterday's price action? Certainly into this little spot right here, 54.40 to 54.50. You can always look for a little bit of an overshoot. And Teva got its ass kicked. Tried it right on the open, bought it at 19, popped back up here, sold most of it on the second attempt when it couldn't get above 1950, and then was stopped out right here in this red bar. So, and then at the end of the day, I had a script from earlier to buy it if it got all the way sold off back inside into this area here, again, 1750. So I have a little bit. This is one of these situations where the news looked pretty good. It looks like the sector's bottoming. And I wanted to, even if it got sold off, buy back into this area right here on the thought that it could start to consolidate above 18, between 18 and 21. So it's a little bigger picture play. If you're interested in it, what you would want to see is it get back above 18 today or next week and start to consolidate like in this area here. But this was the spot, 1750, bottom, higher low, looking for a higher low here.
Hope you enjoyed that video. You can actually watch that video if you're subscribed to our Trader 90 before the market even opens. What stocks are in play? What levels in those stocks are important? And how we might go about attacking that stock. That's Steve Spencer, 20-year veteran trader, laying it out there every morning before the market even opens. A really, really powerful tool to start your session off on the right foot. So right now we're offering a trial that you can take advantage of to access this meeting and other meetings throughout the day. We have a meeting at 11 a.m. Eastern where you can sit down with Mike Bellafiore and listen to him talk about what's going on during the morning session, what stocks were in play, what the best trade opportunities were, as well as maybe some things that we're looking at heading into the afternoon session. So I really encourage you to take advantage of that trial.